Пушка, сзади многотоннажный КАМАЗ «Ларгус». При заезде, получается,
Да.
на
В сторону Керчи.
сторону Керчи.
Правая полоса в сторону Керчи.
На место посмотрел. Какая же это грузовик? Конечно.
А мне кажется, вообще 2 взрыва было, нет?
Просто если бы это была ракета, оно бы и это задело, и второй мост. В любом случае.
Нарезайте сразу.
HoneyBook completely changed the way I do business.
Stop. Let's start from the top.
Oh, we're doing this right now?
Matt, in those villages, nobody's talking about the referendum. They just don't care. They say that's just Russian propaganda. They're not even talking about the nuclear threat. Today, Dmitry Medvedev, he's the deputy head of the Russian Security Council, used to be the Russian president. He made the nuclear threat again, and it would be a tactical nuclear missile. It could fall here on the battlefield. But that is not what people are talking about. What they are talking about is consolidating the gains that Ukraine has made in the last month or so. That's what they're concerned about, and pushing forward before the rains of autumn and the snows of winter. That's what we've been hearing as we've spent the last few days with the Ukrainian military. The soldiers of Russia's 11th Air Assault Brigade abandoned their positions on the outskirts of Visipilia in a hurry, leaving behind the things they carried. The perfume they used because there was no soap, their coffee cups, the map of the front line northeast of the city of Kherson. A reconnaissance platoon of Ukraine's 97th Battalion's 60th Brigade drove them out of their foxholes. The Russian soldiers must have spent long nights down there, artillery booming overhead, as they read about James Bond. The night of September the 1st, as Ukrainian forces closed in, they decided it was no time to die.
Дощ був, було холодно, сиро. Заходили сюди з таким міцним запасом БК. Залишили тут на позиціях одну групу, а самі пішли туди далі по селу. Перевіряти, куди, де хто пішов. Було чути гул техніки, пересування особового складу. В тепловізорі було дуже видно, як дрібними групами виходять.
Maybe they've been disciplined or sent to fight elsewhere. His sleeping bag.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow. Hagiv's sleeping bag. Maybe newly mobilized Russian troops will be sent to retake territory that President Putin is expected to claim is no longer Ukraine, but part of Russia. Or maybe he'll make good on the threat of using a battlefield nuclear weapon.
Дуже мала вірогідність того, що це дійсно станеться. На ядерну кнопку натискає не одна людина. Так що там, думаю, ще є при розумі генерали, які цим всім керують. І це не за один день буде робитися, так що це навряд чи станеться.
Into the village of Visokopilya, destroyed by both Russian artillery and Ukrainian counterstrikes. The Russians used the hospital as a base during their 6-month occupation.
Там вверху навіть можна бачити останки, репки їхні.
Репка – це що правильно?
Репка – це була глушительна станція, вони глушили повністю тут зв'язь. Повністю було проблематично зв'язатися навіть з 10 метрів друг з другом. Давало нам дуже великі складності з комунікацією.
Once inside, imagine how it must have been before the war. medical staff bustling along the corridors, patients queuing for attention. This was once an X-ray room, the equipment now melted by the heat of a rocket attack. And what on earth is this? Why did the Russians put a paddling pool in here? Downstairs to the area the Russians used as a bunker. They don't seem to have been a very disciplined force. Nothing is packed away. Detritus litters the corridors and rooms. This hospital basement was used as a firing position. Everywhere we go, we can see the debris of the Russian lives. This is where they slept. This is where they ate. And this is where they fought as well. And out, past the hieroglyphics of war, traces left by bored and then terrified, defeated young men. A few miles closer to the front line lies the village of Velika Kostromka, a reminder that the war is far from over. Shelling hit this home just last Friday. 6-year-old Olya Yaroshenko's husband, Volodymyr, failed to make it to the shelter in time.
Watch this. I can show you how to get the biggest discounts online when you shop at major retailers like Amazon and Target.
You can drop prices automatically. I can show you how, but I can't do it for you. People are saving real money doing this, 160 million in the last year. Across thousands of different retailers, you'll immediately see this. See what I mean? You'll see better prices you had no idea existed. And you don't even need to ask. They just show up automatically. Download this free tool that'll give you access to the deals like the one.
Получається, я туди, а він оце ось сюди став, закривав отак же ж двері, і воно по ньому, як почало оці. І його повністю він почав, тут оце крові калюжа спускатися, і на мене так упав, і все.
It's hard to believe that life could be so cruel.
Ну да, він такий, мене ні пив, ні курив, ніколи не пішов. Ну, робили ми, у нас земля своя, трудились, все время самі. Все наживали, а на старості це осталось без нічого. І хату розбили. Ні вікон, ні дверей. Ну, спасіба, сусіди хоч оце чим-небудь накрили. Бо кажуть, тебе і стеля впадеш, як же зимувати.
Olya Shaitanova, the village head, shows me where another shell hit. She's remained throughout and has no fear of Russia's nuclear threats.
Але я вважаю, що вони просто не використають цю ядерну зброю, тому що вони теж розуміють, що поруч НАТО, і ця сила не дасть їм використати ядерну зброю.
She and the local military administrator work together as soldiers and civilians live alongside each other amongst the ruins. So what's the military situation now?
Яка ситуація? Напружена, але повністю контрольована Збройними силами України. Ну, ви ж бачите, що працюють Збройні сили України на відмінно і стримують натиски ворожі і дуже добре відбивають їх.
Ukrainian patriotic spirit is strong, but it's not enough. They're digging in to secure the gains they've made. But over the horizon, the Russians are digging in too, mobilizing more recruits to defend the land they still control as the long, hard winter months approach.
Lindsay Hilson reporting. Well, the war has put pipelines, especially those carrying gas, very much on the front pages. Today, the Danish Prime Minister blamed deliberate acts for simultaneous leaks on both the Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 pipelines, which carry Russian gas to Europe. The Danish Defense Ministry released a video showing an area of the Baltic Sea a kilometre wide churning with escaped gas. An exclusion zone for shipping has been put in place. The company running the pipeline said that they'd suffered unprecedented damage. The EU has previously accused Russia of using a reduction in gas supplies to blackmail Europe, something which Moscow denies. Now, the UN has condemned the arrest of more than 2,300 people in Russia for protesting against the mobilization of conscripts to fight in Ukraine. Queues at the Georgian border are stretching to up to 24 hours long as Russian men flee the country amid fears that the borders will soon close to fighting age men. Local authorities on the Russian side say that they're setting up a mobile drafting office at this crossing. Well, I'm joined now by Alexander Mereshko, who heads the Foreign Affairs Committee in the Ukrainian Parliament. Thanks for coming to our balcony here above Kyiv in the fog. First of all, your reaction to these referendums. 96% result announced by the Russians. Does that change anything for your government and on the ground in the battlefield?
It doesn't change absolutely anything, because from legal point of view, we're talking about serious international crime. The results have already been predetermined, and we know what will be the results. These referendums, sham referendums, they violate international law, international humanitarian law, constitution of Ukraine, and basic rules of decency and politics. But they will not change anything, because the fate of everything will be decided on the battleground.
And you're not going to hold back from any more advances that you might be launching before Christmas?
Well, I hope that we'll continue our counteroffensive, because we repel our attacks of our enemy very successfully, and our army continues to liberate new villages and new towns.
Very interesting developments inside Russia. We're hearing reports, for instance, that new Russian recruits, those who've just been called up, are calling up a Ukrainian helpline to ask how they can, come over to the other side. Can you confirm that?
Yes, I can confirm it, because this information was received from our military intelligence service. And it's a good sign, because it says that our enemy is demotivated, morale is very low, and so it's a sign of our victory, basically.
There's a lot of debate inside the EU about what to do with those Russian men who want to flee. Finland has said, for instance, and the Baltic republics, keep them inside Russia. Georgia is letting them in. What do you think is the right policy?
The right policy is not to let these people leave the territory of Russia, because it's
not to let,
because it's a duty of every citizen to fight against its own authoritarian regime. It's a duty of these people to stay in Russia and to fight against Putin and his regime.
So you're hoping by keeping them inside Russia, that could become a pressure cooker, putting more pressure on Putin?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Is there any evidence that this might work?
I think it can work, because historically, 20 or 30 years ago, there were some movements against regime in Russia, so it can repeat itself.
And so do you think that we are witnessing a turning point in this war right now in your favor?
I believe so. It might happen maybe several months, because we are entering the crucial period of time, which is winter, which is going to be difficult. But I'm sure that we'll reach this turning point very soon, and Russia will be defeated.
The world is divided between those countries who are afraid of Russia's success and who are afraid of Russia's defeat, because Russia might do something desperate. Which camp do you belong to?
Well, of course, we believe that Russia should be defeated, and I am sure that...
But what about nuclear weapons and all those threats we've heard?
Well, to me, it's a bluff. Putin is trying to blackmail the whole world, and I don't believe that he is capable of using nuclear arsenal, because he will be completely isolated, including his allies like China and like India. They will have no choice but to stay away from Putin.
Alexander Mereshko, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.